Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we have a Toronto Raptors video. We're going to talk a little bit more about their defense now that Pascal Siakam is returning. Unfortunately, Yuta Watanabe is going to be out for Wednesday's game. I don't know if they have a word for Thursday. I don't think it's looking great for Thursday. But Yuta's going to be out Wednesday. Pascal is questionable in the back-to-back for Thursday. So, the good news is no Joel Embiid against Philly and then no Jaylen Brown against Boston tomorrow. So that's good news. Now the Toronto Raptors are 6-5 at the moment, and like I said, your best player, he just came back. Pascal, other night he put up like 15 and 3, threw in a steal, threw in a block, threw in a 3, did a little bit of everything in 25 or so minutes. So Pascal being back, he's in the starting lineup. You had the removal of Precious Achiuwa. My guess is that they continue to run with that lineup until it doesn't make sense. I'm still a little surprised Khem Birch didn't take over Precious Achiuwa's spot in the starting lineup, but to Precious's degree, to his, I can't even think of the word, but to his credit, he put up like 3 straight double-doubles to start the season, and then he's coming off a good game against Brooklyn, 13 points, 8 rebounds. Now, Toronto's defensive rating is 105.2. This is very solid. They're 11th in team defense. To give you some background, the Chicago Bulls have a defensive rating of 102.7. The Utah Jazz have a defensive rating of 104. The Heat, 103.2. They're in the middle of the... They're in the above... They're like in the better part of the half, like middle half, if that makes sense. They're hovering. Basically, their defensive rating is basically hovering where they are around team defense, which is 11th. It can be improved. There are some good teams who are really like for the example, the Washington Wizards, defensive rating of 103.1. They're really turning some heads. So I think Toronto has a lot of room to improve here with Pascal being back. Now, their total rebounding is pretty low. It's at 32.5 per game. That is just, it's extremely low. Rebounding has not been an issue for this Raptors team, so I don't want to make it an issue if it's not an issue. And I don't think that this should really be addressed until it has to be addressed. However, it does give me some concern that, hey, I get that the Raptors as a team and as a unit are very long, they're very big, but at the same time, I don't know if they will be able to keep this up for the entirety of the season. If some of their players are slacking off when it comes to energy and effort, they're going to have a much harder time rebounding the basketball. So if one of those pieces, if one of those 5 players on the lineup, on the floor at any given time, if one of them starts slacking off, it's going to throw off the whole operation, because this team, they have to get those rebounds through, boxing out, playing good defense, being long, swarming the board. So it's all a methodical approach when you don't really have a player above 6'8". I think Pascal being in the starting lineup, obviously it's probably going to hurt it a little bit more. However, Precious Achiuwa, he isn't really known for hogging down rebounds, so maybe, you never know, it could be more beneficial. I'm in the camp of I don't really have an issue with it until it becomes an issue. Like I said, they still lead the league by far in deflections per game. They lead the league, or I don't know if they I believe they still lead the league with steals per game, and I believe it's like 11, 10.9. That is definitely the best in the league. So they're getting their hands in the passing lanes, they're tipping balls, they're stealing the basketball, they're pushing it in transition. So that's why I don't really have an issue with it, because they're, like I said, they're 11th in defense. There is some room to improve, but you're only 11 games in. You are without some key players. They still are without Yuta Watanabe. It's interesting. It's getting interesting. I don't think that they necessarily need to desperately get height, but if they were to flip Goran and that contract and his salary, if they were to somehow be able to find a way to even because a lot of people want Moses Brown for Goran, but the issue with getting Moses Brown is he doesn't make nearly enough money as Goran does. Goran makes 18, 19 million a year, so Moses isn't even close to that. You'd have to throw in like Dwight Powell, Trey Burke. You'd have to throw in a bunch of little fillers in order to get that 7'3" Moses Brown over onto this Raptors unit. So I don't think they'll do anything anytime soon until probably at least 2022 at the very least. So that's at least 2 months away. I don't think that they'll actually probably do anything until the trade deadline. However, these DNPs do get me thinking. But I do think a team will eventually be like, we need Goran on this roster. So defensively, you're 11th. You're looking pretty good. Pascal being back, they're gonna still roll with that same starting lineup. OG, leave Scottie in there. I'm pro that starting lineup just because those are the Raptors' 5 best players right now, and they need to be on the court the most. Scottie Barnes, you can't tell me Scottie Barnes deserves to not start right now. I mean, and that's coming from a guy who says, like, if somebody in that starting lineup should be left off of it, I think it should be Scottie Barnes, just so you can continue to give him the ball a lot of the times. Because sometimes what happens in this offense is Scottie Barnes just kind of gets forgotten about. Like, they're not, Scottie Barnes isn't an emphasis on offense, so if he's not bringing the ball up, sometimes he'll get the ball in spots that he doesn't really want the ball, particularly outside of the arc. Now, put him on the bench, he's able to crash those rebounds, get the ball, push it in transition, and be that primary guy, but that's looking like more of a second half thing if it were going to be a thing. You cannot put Scottie Barnes in his 19-8 average or his 18-9 average, whatever he's averaging right now. You cannot put that on the bench. So there it is. Scottie Barnes, Rookie of the Year. Kendrick Perkins keeps calling him Rookie of the Year, his Rookie of the Year. I absolutely love it. I have class here in 1 minute, so I have to go. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's try and aim for 100 likes on today's video. That would be absolutely awesome. But that's it for me today, guys. I'll probably post a pregame video of that Celtics-Raptors game probably later tonight, so stay tuned for that. Hit that sub button. Like I said, we're trying to hit 9,000 by the end of the month, so it's greatly appreciated, and I'll see you guys later.